everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of Terror Time Tea. Now, as a little reminder, we will not be having Friday Foolish today. Candace has a prior engagement. Her and Chris and Noah are going to a concert today, and so that's exciting. And I wish them a safe and enjoyable trip, both going to the concert and coming back home. And it doesn't look like we have anybody in here right now, which is okay. It's early on a Friday. You know, if nobody shows up, at least they'll be able to watch this on the replay. So, the tea I am drinking today is rose tea from China. I picked this up from a local Asian supermarket here in Louisville, and it is very good. I must say, this is the first time I've ever had rose tea. Hey, Blissful, at least you're going to be in here with me. But I was just saying that the rose tea is absolutely delicious. I approve. And the movies we're going to be talking about today are Crawlspace with Klaus Kinski and Death Screams, aka House of Death. And I don't know that I've talked very much about Crawlspace, just to kick this off. But I will say, before I get into this, we will be having a Friday Foolish, only it's going to be a Sunday Foolish. Me and Candace will be on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time talking about badass women in horror films. So be sure to tune in for that. There are no watch-alongs or movie munchies this weekend, but you will get a Friday Foolish. We may call it Sunday Foolish for that day, but I probably won't do a new intro and stuff like that. Wes suggested that I do that, but I just don't think I'm going to have time enough to do that. But I guess before I get started talking about these movies, just to give other people time enough to get in here in case they want to get in here live when I'm talking about these movies, I will share my screen with you folks here in just a second. I'm going to show you a new design that I came up with that eventually I'll be able to put on t-shirts and maybe tumblers and stuff like that, and coffee cups if people are interested in it. So I have this weird thing of when I'm in the shower or just before I go to sleep at night, sometimes I come up with ideas for things, right? So this was one of them that I came up with. Okay. Let's see. Let's minimize that. Let's share the screen here. Share a window. There we go. All right. So this is a design I came up with because I was thinking about, good gracious. Okay. I was thinking about a design I could do. And, you know, I was at first thinking about Howling Wolf tea. And I came up with this image using a little bit of AI of werewolves having a tea party. And I just thought this was so cool. But for whatever reason, when I was taking my shower, I started thinking about the Oingo Boingo song, or just Dead Man's Party. Which, by the way, I think is a pretty cool song. And this started running around in my head. It's a werewolf tea party. And I was like, how can I make that similar to the Oingo Boingo song? Okay. So I thought of It's a Werewolf Tea Party, Who Can Howl for More? And that's what's going to be on the front of the t shirt. Okay. And what's going to be on the back? Well, you're seeing some of the other designs I did. There we go. What's going to be on the back is an AI version of Oingo Boingo. You can see Danny Elfman, or what appears to be Danny Elfman, there in the front, and he's surrounded by band members that are werewolves. And what it's going to say on the back of the shirt, and it's got those little silver bullets flying there. Leave your silver at the door, leave your silver bullets at the door. And that is, of course, similar to the line, leave your body at the door, leave your body and soul at the door. And I'm not going to try to sing, but, I just thought that this was a little nifty play on that Oingo Boingo song and mixing it up with werewolves and all of that stuff. So just thought I would share that with you guys and gals before we get started. Let's what you say you knew the rose tea would be delicious. You are absolutely correct. Yeah, it does kind of look like Danny Elfman, Ben. You're right. The thing about AI is it never looks exactly like the person, but it will look similar. In some cases, it looks similar enough that it's almost uncanny. Some of the Robert England stuff I did with AI looked strangely like Robert England. But anyway, that will soon be up on the site as a design that you can pick to have put on a shirt, or, maybe possibly to put on a coffee cup or a tumbler. Okay, so let's get into these movies, shall we? The first movie, of course, is Crawlspace, starring Klaus Kinski. And Klaus Kinski in this movie plays Carl Gunther, the landlord of this apartment building. And, this is not the Klaus Kinski of days gone past. This is older, a little heavier Klaus Kinski, okay? And some people might say, well, who cares? Klaus Kinski was never good looking to begin with. Well, Klaus Kinski was never like my idea of leading man material. However, in his younger days, he kind of had a charm that he exuded on screen. And some people might disagree with me on that, where it just worked. And there was also a sleazy undertone to Klaus Kinski as well in films. And behind the scenes, Klaus Kinski was known to be a little grabby of his female co-stars on films. And I think he got in trouble more than once for, being a little too touchy-feely with the ladies he was working with on screen. So Carl Gunther only rents to female tenants. Only women can stay at his apartment building. But what these women don't know is he's basically an ex-Nazi. He's got a woman in a cage in his apartment that he keeps locked up real tightly, doesn't let anybody in there or anything. And her hair's cut off real short, Basically, he's treating her like someone in a concentration camp. Okay. And she refuses to eat and stuff like that. And so systematically, he goes around terrifying his female tenants. He puts rats in the crawl space. He gets in the crawl space and spies on them, while they're taking their clothes off and stuff like that, or, getting together for a girls', slumber party like thing where they're eating a bunch of food and drinking and just having a grand old time. All the things that they're doing, he's watching from the crawl space. And so this man shows up with the original intention of getting a room at Carl Gunther's apartment building. And basically, Carl tells him no, you know. But what we figure out about this guy is his brother, I think, was killed by Carl when he was doing a lot of medical experiments for the Nazi party. And he's trying to get Carl to admit to this and perhaps even record him or whatever, and then he's going to turn Carl in. Well, you know what usually happens with that? These kind of people come to a bad end, and this guy unfortunately will come to a bad end. There's some spectacular kills in this one. Pretty bloody. It was directed by David Schmoller, who did Tourist Trap, Catacombs, and Puppet Master. And the word going around on the set and behind the scenes, and even to this day, if someone talks to David Schmoller, is that he absolutely hated working with Klaus Kinski. Him and Klaus Kinski butted heads all the time. And so there is, I know it doesn't sound funny when I tell the title of this, but it is funny to watch. David Schmoller created this short film, Please Kill Mr. Kinski. And it talks all about how much he hated working with Klaus Kinski. Evidently, Klaus Kinski was a very hard man to work with. There have been like behind the scenes stuff on other movies where Klaus Kinski just goes completely ape and starts screaming and cursing and all that at people around him, including the director of some of these films. According to David Schmoller, he refused to do what David Schmoller told him to do. He would give him direction. He would completely ignore it and do whatever he wanted to do. So, as much as I like watching Klaus Kinski on screen, in most anything I've watched him in, evidently he was not a person that you wanted to work with for very long, or in some cases at all. But you couldn't really tell it during the movie. Like, if you watch the movie, you can't tell there was anything like that going on, in my opinion. So, I like Crawlspace. I remember the first time I watched it, I rented it, and I remember me and my mom watching it. And I want to bring about one really super cool shot in this movie is when Carl, aka Klaus Kinski, is in the crawl space, and it's just surrounded by smooth metal on all sides. And he is on, looks like one of those sliding things that mechanics use to slide in and out from underneath vehicles. And he just hops on it and he's sliding through the crawl space. Now, this more than likely was not Klaus Kinski, because Klaus Kinski wasn't a spring chicken at this point. But it's a really, really cool looking effect, in my opinion. So, I always liked this film. I thought it was always creepy. It came out in 1986. It's only 80 minutes long, so it's not a super long film. Empire Pictures and Charles Band put it out. And I don't know. I'm going to give my rating. And some people, like I said, they don't get why I give some of these movies such high ratings. But I actually got a 3 up there, but envision, if you will, a half deadite up there. I'm going to give it 3.5 deadites out of 5. So I would recommend Crawlspace. Not recommend necessarily that you go out and buy it per se. If you've never seen it, try to find a for free version. Try to get on Tubi or YouTube or something like that. In fact, let's just do a little legwork for you guys and gals, shall we? Let's see if we can find Crawlspace. There is another Crawlspace movie, but we need the one from 1986. There's also a movie called Crawlspace from 1972, so don't get that one mixed up with this one. Crawlspace from 1972 is pretty good too. Now you can watch it with ScreenPix TV. I'm not sure how much that cost. And I'm not sure if I'm trying to see if this is in English. Yep. Yeah, you can watch this in English. It does have Spanish subtitles, I believe, on it. But let me go ahead and put that in the chat for you guys and gals in case you want to. It looks to be a pretty decent transfer of Crawlspace as well. In fact, they may have pulled it from this Screen Factory release that I have on Blu-ray. All right, so moving along to Dead Screams, aka House of Death. Okay, I think I've said this before. I got to say it again though. When I watched it under the title of House of Death originally, and it was on VHS, that VHS box had one of the most confusing, inept plot synopsis I had ever seen in my life, and probably will ever see, because it does not um, explain the plot of the movie in any way, shape, or form. I don't know what movie the person saw that did the plot synopsis for the VHS box, but it was not Death Screams. Okay. Fortunately, due to the great workings of Arrow Video, we have a proper plot synopsis, and I'm going to get to that. But something I want to bring up is the fact that Death Screams was released on US VHS as House of Death, like I said, and on UK DVD. But when it was released in the UK, the reels were in the wrong order. So you talk about being confused by this movie. Hey, Mayor, you said I was just about to tell you about Crawlspace being on YouTube, but I couldn't type fast enough. That's okay, Mayor. I appreciate that, though. Okay. So, this is uncut as well. So, David Nelson, there's a name for you, who rose to fame as child star playing alongside his real life family in the wholesome TV show The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, directs Playboy Playmate and adult star Susan Keeger in this body count heavy, long overlooked slice of Southern fried hack and slash from 1982, Death Screams. Okay, and that is all completely correct. I believe this may have been filmed in North Carolina as well. And you will see some of the people that ended up in other North Carolina films, including Final Exam, which is a movie that CK and Uncle Bill do not care for. So late one night, a young couple was brutally murdered at a makeout spot by an unseen assailant. Not a really original idea there. Their bodies are tossed in a nearby river, and as the lifeless lovers drift slowly downstream, the residents of the town excitedly prepare themselves for their annual carnival, unaware that a machete-wielding maniac with a twisted grudge, and he does have a twisted grudge, but again, the plot synopsis outlined on the VHS box years and years ago was not for this movie. I don't know what movie it was for, but it did not make sense in the context of this movie. That's right, Mayor. You say, oh no, adult stars, Ozzy and Harry, they're going to be disappointed in them. Um, so when a group of teenagers, well, they're not really teenagers. They're obviously not teenagers, but one of the girls is getting ready to go into her first year of college, and some of the rest of the people, except for Ramona, who's somebody that never did go to college, but the others are going to be going back to college, returning to college in the fall. And so we're talking about people that are 18 to 20, probably. Supposedly, but we all know they're not, right? Okay. So when these teenagers plan a late night after party down in the local cemetery, why do they always want to go to the local cemetery? I'll never know. But then there wouldn't be a movie, right? They unwillingly set the stage for a bloodbath. And bloodbath indeed. We have people getting cut in half, and as somebody's trying to pull them out of a hole, they get sliced in half. So when they're pulled up, you got a shredded bunch of gore that's dripping from below the waist. You've got a guy that, is split from ear to ear, basically, they say, and hung upside down in the outhouse. And when the others go to check on him because he's been gone a long time, he's hung up inside the outhouse with blood dripping out of his throat. You have a guy who gets his hands cut off. You have people beheaded. So there's one scene in particular that never made sense to me. And I was hoping that somebody would explain it to me when this Blu-ray came out. Unfortunately, I don't recall it ever being explained. But there's a scene where it appears that the coach, the baseball or little league coach in town, is going out to his car, and it's as if somebody is seeing him get his head cut off. It's a very weird scene. And I don't know what it's trying to tell us, or even if it is trying to tell us anything. But be on the lookout for that weird scene if you watch this. So, like I said, it was released on US VHS as House of Death, and on UK DVD with the reels in the wrong order. It does definitely ooze early 80s regional slasher charm from his very poor, boasting and everything plus the kitchen sink final reel featuring slashed throats, bisected bodies, and exploding heads. There is indeed an exploding head in this as well. At long last, arriving on Blu-ray and lovingly restored from the only known existing 35mm print. This little scene slasher classic is ready to carve its way into the bleeding hearts of horror fans everywhere. Mayor, you say, Dana, excuse me for probably asking a stupid question, but why does your calendar say it's December when it's May? No, that's not a stupid question. You know why that is, Mayor? It's because Dana has not got a replacement calendar for the new year. So when this one ended in December of 2023, I just never have gotten it replaced yet. So no, that was not a stupid question. I'm surprised nobody else has asked that, in fact. But yeah, thank you for giving me a laugh today. I that is funny because I hadn't even thought about this. Every once in a while I go to glance to write something down or see what the date is. I'm like, oh, dang it, you ain't replaced that calendar yet. So, very good question, Mayor, and it did get a laugh out of me. So you never noticed until now. Yeah. I'm surprised, I'm really shocked. I think this shows up in just about every stream I do, and nobody has said anything yet. So thank you for mentioning that. May actually reinforce in me the need that I need to get a new calendar. Okay, so death screams. I'm gonna give Death Screams 4 deadites out of 5. I absolutely love this movie. Can't get enough of it. A lot of people say they don't like it actually. And I don't know why. I mean, they're entitled to their own opinion, and I would never say somebody didn't have a right to their own opinion on any movie. But this just seems to be pretty much a low budget slasher classic to me. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze, I think. I hate when I feel like I got to sneeze and then I can't. I've been sneezing all morning long, just about. So let's see if we can find a copy of Death Screams on YouTube. Oh. Ah, yeah, I'll watch it. Full Free Films actually has Death Screams. So I'm going to also put that link in the chat here for those of you that want to check out Death Screams for free. So you can check out Crawlspace and Death Screams both for free on YouTube without having to spend a dime, right? So I guess I can stay on here maybe a couple more minutes till 12:15. I am finished with the movie reviews for today, and I have finished my tea. My rose tea is all gone today. Um so if anybody has any questions about what may be coming up, um I am going to be doing an apples and oranges next Wednesday, just to give you a heads up for um the people that are in here and hear me talking about it. Mary, you say, I hate when that happens too. It's so frustrating when you brace for the sneeze and nothing happens exactly, or it'll happen 10 minutes later or whatever. I even looked at the light. They say sometimes when you look at the light, you'll go ahead and sneeze. Um, but Chris kind of helped me. Well, he did help me come up with an idea for apples and oranges for next Wednesday. We're going to be talking about the controversy surrounding John Landis and the horrific accident that took place on the set of Twilight Zone, the movie. And so, if you're interested in coming on to discuss that, all opinions are welcome. If you hate John Landis for what happened, I want you to come on there and talk about it. Hopefully, we'll have a bunch of different points of view on that and how people handled that tragedy. How, did you continue watching Twilight Zone the movie? Did you refuse to watch Twilight Zone the movie? Did you refuse to watch anything else that John Landis did? Or go back and watch some of the stuff that's considered classic, I can't talk classics, like Animal House and Blues Brothers and American Werewolf in London. Did that taint your view of John Landis so much that you couldn't go back and watch those films anymore? Liz, will you say, I have a tea blend idea for you? All right, awesome. I'd love to hear it. But again, another reminder for people that came in here a little bit late. There will be no Friday Foolish today because Candace and Chris and Noah are out of town at a concert. But we will be having one. Actually, it'll be a Sunday Foolish at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, and we'll be talking about badass women in horror films. Ooh, mint vanilla. Yes, mint vanilla. You may have told me that last night, and I got sleepy and didn't get a chance to respond. I actually need to respond to you. about your messages you sent to me last night. But on that note, I guess I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the afternoon. Be sure to tune in on Sunday for Sunday Foolish instead of Friday Foolish. And see me and Candace talking about badass women in horror. And I promise, I'm going to try to get the regularly scheduled program guide up for this coming week. I've gotten kind of busy and kind of lazy and all that good stuff, and did not get things up the last 2 weeks like I should have. Thank you, Blissful, and you have a great day too, Mayor. And on that note, I want to remind everybody to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. And I'll see everybody next time. Bye for now.